thank you everyone for joining us. And I would like to tell you more about our event. What is it and what is it about? Today we're starting our webinar, which is called Personal Brands of Top Managers on LinkedIn in 2023 for the future. And who we are a Modumup social selling agency. We help B2B companies develop their their employees' personal social media profiles and get leads or potential clients, or even accelerate their HR brand. And today we are going to have 3 amazing speakers and presentations based on the real experience of our speakers. And I would like to introduce our first speakers. This is Oleg Kovertnev, founding director and COO at Alex Cloud. And he will start today's party together with our colleague, Abdulhan Shekdalai. And they are going to talk about their co-creation, how an honest and ironic personal social media profile helps Alec to find partners and like-minded people from various countries. So Alec, Asul, please start.
Sure. I hope everyone can see my screen. Can you confirm that?
Yes.
Yep. So, as Olga said, today we will be your humble speakers, and we will talk about the behind the scenes story of our ongoing partnership, and share some insights that hopefully will help make your social selling strategy better. And Alek, would you mind telling us how it all started?
Hi, Asal. Hi, Olga, and hi everyone on the call. And first of all, thanks a lot for inviting me. It's a big pleasure. I'm in particular, I'm very happy with how you Asal, how you called the presentation, anti-selling in social selling, because it perfectly explains my initial idea, because we wanted to expand our business globally, and I decided that I would like to leverage LinkedIn as a tool to expand my network. It was not that big at that. It was not small, but not big at that point. And the first person I reached out was Olga, because we knew each other from our Microsoft background, and I knew that Olga is she founded company doing some social things. I didn't know exactly what she's doing, but we had a coffee and we decided to experiment. At that time, there was no any like well-structured plan with KPI. How many leads we want to create, how many deals I want to close leveraging LinkedIn. It was not about that. It was about, okay, I want to be honest and sincere in LinkedIn. I don't want to mimic. I don't want to imitate something. I want to be the person I am. And please help me how to amplify and expand it to the big network. And let's work jointly on this project, and let's see how it goes. That was an idea. That's it. Astal,
yeah,
coming back to you.
Sure. And Alek mentioned a couple of points that are important in your social selling strategy. Before you decide to launch it, you have to have a clear picture in your mind, what kind of person you are and what do you want to achieve. And usually we ask our clients a couple of questions, like in order to proceed with the strategy, to create one, like who are you, what product or service do you offer, what are your goals, what's important to your target audience, what kind of problems they have, and finally, what's your story, how do you want to be portrayed in social media. And here, at this point, you don't actually have to know everything about what do you want to sell. You don't have to have a product that you want to sell, because like in our case, Alex didn't want to sell anything. He just wanted to, I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use this sell word again, to sell himself to the people, to C-level executives of around the globe, just to show that he's a real person. he's the expert, he's the chief operating officer of his company, and etc. And the main idea was to broadcast Alex's expert and personal image. So it would attract people wanting to know more about him, about what does his company offer, and make them interact with his content and answer his messages.
Yeah, just ask from my side, because I'm in the very scalable business. We are sort of hyperscaler cloud, and that's why I wanted that once we built, this approach to LinkedIn, I want this to be scalable. And I asked Olga also, could you help me to scale? So because I want to reach out to many people, I want to expand my network, and but I'm afraid I'm not very scalable. So that was all about scalability, but without being artificial at the same time.
And as practice has shown, this sincere approach is the best one on LinkedIn, because as Alec mentioned, he stated from the beginning he doesn't want to create this flawless fictional character of C-level exec that has no cons, whose decisions are always right, and etc. So we went with that, broadcast Alec as is, and it paid off pretty successfully, I would say. So at this point, from the very beginning, we decided that we are partners in this project, and we will co-create. And this would be the key to every activity that we have. So let's talk about content creation. Usually the process in our agency looks like this. We have 3 steps, and they're pretty simple. We take an interview with the client, we ask some questions, then we create a draft that awaits approval, and if everything is okay, we publish it on LinkedIn. But if you actually care about what you say on social media, and if you care about your readers, you have to add some extra steps to these steps. And first of all, in our project, during our weekly calls, we discussed a lot of different things that were happening in Alex's life, in Yandex Cloud's life. And so the topics popped up naturally. And we made sure that they would be interesting to our target audience. And we discussed that with Oleg like a lot. And sometimes I and Anna, she's the content manager in our project, we came up with some ideas for our future posts. We started asking Oleg some questions, but eventually it evolved into something completely different. For instance, let's take the topic of flat management. Everyone on LinkedIn knows that it's trendy to talk about it, but there is nothing interesting about it itself, because everyone knows about flat management right now. So we decided to ask if it was hard to implement this approach in Yandex Cloud. And Alex started answering our questions, but eventually he shared his vision about network co-leadership. So we decided to go with the latter because it sounds much more interesting than just the flat management itself. And also, after preparing an almost ready to publish post draft, we usually ask Oleg if he wants to add something, or does he want to shift focus to highlight some other points, because sometimes a brilliant idea can come with the delay. And after we have edited the post, for example, Alex said, hey guys, let's shift the focus to something else, because I think target audience would like this more. And it would be much more interesting to hear what they have to say about that. At this point, we have almost ready to publish post. We have changed everything, but the last step is to ensure that it actually sounds sincere and emotional, because you cannot lie to your target audience. People will always understand if you wrote a post just because you decided to write it to mimic that you care about this idea. And we don't want that. We mentioned a couple of times before, we wanted to be sincere. So we when we go once again about that post, we talk about it if it actually sounds like sounds real. And if everything is good, here we try to add some real life photos because it can break the ice and it will help build trust to your persona on LinkedIn. So you should definitely use this approach for sure. And we also came up with a couple of rules for our content creation with Oleg's help, of course. And Oleg, can you please share your vision of these 3 steps?
Yeah, yeah, they're quite simple. I didn't want to pretend that I know everything, and I didn't want to portray myself as a expert in all areas. And knowing that I'm talking to the broad audience, I wanted to in a very simple terms discuss some complex things, and to definitely treating the audience as an equal, because I don't see myself as a big expert in business or in management, because it's always about a learning curve. There's every year, the world is changing. This is the constant, and you cannot be an expert because it's always about the change. So, but you can share experience, and I'm not pretending that this is a best practice, but sharing this as something I learned, and if someone will leverage this, will take it, for his personal use, why not? That was a rule number 1. Second, I'm not ideal. I'm making mistakes. That is fine. I think it's totally fine, and not making mistakes is strange. I think for all entrepreneurs, all managers, leaders. So, and I'm totally fine to share some tough lessons I learned. So, and I don't care if I will look weak or not talented enough. That is it. This is my mistakes, and I'm not afraid of sharing this. And otherwise, if the post guys suggested was too shiny something, oh, I know this and this, so I said no, it's not me. I'm very self-reflecting, so sometimes I'm not sure that I'm doing right things. I don't want to be overconfident, and I don't want to create this picture. It's not about me. And the last share some practical things I'm facing in my work, because there are a lot of things I'm going through. We built pretty big regional business. We expanded globally, so I'm dealing with different people, different nationalities, or different aspects of the business. Again, it's not rocket science, but I do want to share some actual problems and the way how I deal with it. That's it. Nothing artificial. I don't want to copy some things from other stories and pretend this is mine. No, I'm only sharing my own experience. That's it.
So I think we will move on to some examples and the blocks that we divide our content to. So the first one is why top manager should talk about their employees on social network. And actually, this I don't know how to say these topics for the post. Oleg gave us the idea to write about his employees, and I would be happy to hear why.
I'm workaholic. I'm very self-critical and also critical to my team, not in a negative way, but we do work hard, and my my weakness that I do not always give enough appreciation and acknowledgement. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to leverage LinkedIn because to the specific people.
And Alex said that the main idea here was to appreciate the colleagues, and that what mattered for him the most. But we are at Modumup, we are the numbers geeks, we are social media geeks, so the numbers matter for us. And in your social selling strategy, I would say that it can help you to kill two birds with one stone. The first one is, of course, you can appreciate your colleagues and they would be grateful for it, they would be pleased, and you can show appreciation for some projects they finished or their accolades. But also, it is a great way to show people that you actually have a team behind you. You're not the only person in your company that is the expert in your field, etc. But you also, let's take a look at the second post here. We've written this post and we asked Oleg if he wants to tag any of his colleagues. And he said, yep, let's tag 10 of them because I appreciate all of them. And it also helps, you know, on LinkedIn, they never reveal their algorithms, but as we can see, the engagement in the first hours after publishing, it matters the most. So when you tag your colleagues, when you write about them, you don't want to be the person that says to your colleagues, right, please like my posts. But if you tag them, they would like it naturally. And you will receive more engagement on this kind of content, and it will receive a boost. So let's talk about the sincerity and why it matters. We work with a lot of people from various industries all around the globe, but I can say that it's hard for most of them to broadcast their personal side on social media. And a lot of people, they have this, you know, they think of LinkedIn that it's a social network only for workaholics, and you have to write about your job-related things and nothing more. But LinkedIn is not like this anymore for a couple of years now, and personal content is actually really valuable on LinkedIn because I love to say this phrase, people buy from people and people trust people. They don't trust companies, they don't buy from companies. If they trust you and if they believe in what you're saying, it would help them to make a right decision to come to you after all. So we were, when we asked Oleg first if he'd be ready to publish something about his family or his personal stories, we were flattered that he said, of course, guys, because this is a part of me. So this post, the first one about seeing the therapist, Oleg came to us and said, let's talk about that because it's really happening in my life. And I know that a lot of people struggle with it and they think that going to a therapist is some kind of taboo. And after we've written this post and published it, we received a really warm welcome. People said in the comments that finally someone is talking about this. And a lot of people said that they will go see a therapist after that. So don't be afraid of receiving some hateful comments or hateful reaction from your personal content. This way you can show what kind of person you are. And I think it would be pretty interesting for our viewers to listen why it wasn't that scary for you, Oleg, to write about that.
Good question. I think maybe 10, 15 years, I would be scared to death to share such things. But over the years, I realized that it's it's very simple, but many people don't take it serious. But to their specific people.
And Alex said that the main idea here was to appreciate the colleagues, and that what mattered for him the most. But we are at Modumup, we are the numbers geeks.
As a manager, been stressed out frequently, almost every day, dealing with a lot of challenges. So it's I think I realize how it's helping me to deal with uncertainty, and it was not about I'm afraid to share this. It was about I know that many people are not doing this. Let me share. Maybe if even one person will take this advice and will improve his emotional conditions, then fine. This is job done. Again, as a manager, been stressed out frequently, almost every day, dealing with a lot of challenges. So it's I think I realize how it's helping me to deal with uncertainty, and it was not about I'm afraid to share this. It was about I know that many people are not doing this. Let me share. Maybe if even one person will take this advice and will improve his emotional conditions, then fine. This is job done. Again, I think the strength is in admitting that you're not ideal. You're a human. As a human, we all have weaknesses and strengths, and it's very clear currently that people, just normal people, they attract other normal people, and I don't need in my network people who are like shiny persons in their Instagram. I know, showing their best. I know this is. It's not how I want to build my network. I want other humans in my network. That's why I behave normally and expect others to do so. So this is very pragmatic, I would say. Again, nothing very well. There is no strategy in this. There is just I think very common sense in what I'm doing, and usually it helps because you also receive some kind words. So your people telling you that fine. So we are also doing this, or great that you're sharing this experience. Emotionally, I take it as very warm comments, and so it's just acknowledging that I have lots of like-minded persons in my network. So this is it gives me some satisfaction. This is also very pragmatic thing. So I want to receive some positive things from my network. Negative comments sometimes also help to reflect. So I do receive sometimes some tricky questions. So I'm also trying to take it with a respect, because you need to reflect on yourself. It's not black and white.
Oh, I can see that we have only 3 minutes left. So Yep. Thank you, Oleg. And at this point, I hope we covered the whole sincerity part. And let's imagine that you're writing this sincere post and people trust you. And here comes time to broadcast your expertise. And traditionally, expert content receives less engagement than personal content, but you shouldn't feel despair, because the topic of your expert content can be relevant to a much narrower audience. And if a person didn't click on the like button, it doesn't mean that they didn't read or remembered your publication, because usually it takes some time to, before a business task will arise in the company. So a person, the problem that you're talking, or the thing you're talking, is really relevant for them at this point. But when time comes and they will face this business task, they would definitely come to you over anyone else, because as I said, they already believe you, they already trust you, and they know that you are the expert in this field. So let's talk about some results. As Alex said, we didn't have any KPIs about leads or partners that we have to find. And also, we didn't sell any selling messages from Oleg's profile. But we've managed to receive some, let's say, astonishing numbers. For example, we have the connection rate is 58%, which is really high on LinkedIn, because we're adding only C-level executives as of now. We receive almost 6,000 average post views per post, and with 0 sales messages sent, we managed to receive 31 inbound leads that were asking for partnership or becoming a client. And with the post about appreciating the colleagues, a lot of people decided to join Yandex Cloud, because as we said before, if you're being a real person on LinkedIn and you're not afraid to admit mistakes, to show your weaknesses, normal people would attract to you. And as you can see, we have 81 inbound job applications. A really great part here is that Oleg talks to almost everyone that wants to apply to Yandex Cloud. We transfer them to the pool, or we transfer them to HR director at Yandex Cloud. And if the opportunity arises, Yandex Cloud will call to them and tell them to join their team. So Olga, can you please tell us if we have some time to answer the questions, or we should move on?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time. Thank you so much. It was very insightful and very interesting. And but I want to ask one question, because this is a very interesting question from the audience. Should top management somehow? No, it's not. It's not the most interesting. The most interesting is, are there any forbidden themes which should not be shared on personal accounts of top managers? Oleg, what do you think about it? About forbidden topics?
I don't talk politics, definitely. I think it's for me, this is forbidden subject. I also trying to avoid some controversial things which will divide the audience, because I don't want to create this is not okay. This is not the field to go to the tribune and pitch something which will be controversial. It's related to anything. I don't know. I appreciate this, that my network is diverse. It's people with diverse backgrounds, diverse nationalities, and I think it's a place to be very tolerant, and that's why controversial subjects I'm trying to avoid. I'm fine to appreciate and to tolerate any voices and opinions, but myself, I'm trying to avoid it. Like, and politics is one of those subjects. You know, religion, you know, sexual preferences. These things doesn't matter to me. You know, people all different, and I accept it.
Great. Thank you so much, Oleg. Thank you for your time and for insights you shared. And Asılhan, thank you too very much. And I would like to introduce the next speaker, Gunnar Habits. I would say a couple of words about you, Gunnar. Gunnar is Senior Partner Manager at Go2 in Australia and ex-Senior Partner and Alliance Manager at APAC region at Hootsuite. And he's a Board Director and Brand Ambassador at several companies. And today, Gunnar will share his very systematic approach, I saw the slides, to social selling and to the development of personal profiles on social media, specifically for boards and leaders. Gunnar, please start. Yeah, maybe your microphone is muted.
So welcome everyone. As soon as I get it shared on the, I can see it in full, then I'm ready to go. But need to change that. And good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good day. So actually in Australia, we have about, what's the time? Actually 7:30 p.m. I'm currently at an event that I'm sitting in the car to broadcast this. And my topic here will be talking about the digital reputation for boards and leaders. And as you already mentioned, so I have some experience sitting on a board as well, which is a very nice experience as well from my side, because it gets a different perspective. When you're an employee, then you become a leader, and then you are sitting on a board. So let's get started. And myself, I've been using social selling and LinkedIn for a couple of years now as a practitioner, and out of this one, I joined Hootsuite, which, as some of you might know, is the world-leading platform to manage social media. And then after 2.5 years, I'm now with Go2. You might know GoToMeeting as one of the platforms to have fantastic video streaming. So let me talk a couple of points about leaders. So we heard this, particularly in this year, there's a lot of great reshuffling ongoing, that people leave bad managers and they join good leaders. They buy even into a well-crafted vision. If you think about leaders like Richard Branson, more people look into his own profile, what he says, compared to Virgin as a company. But the question is, for most organizations, the top is invisible. How can we connect to someone who doesn't even show up in whatever way? Think about Apple. Without the visionary Steve Jobs in the right days back then, it would not work at all. So that is just the view of working there. And let's look the other view if we are a customer. So consumers particularly, they prefer buying from companies with a visible purpose, expecting also some visible leaders, especially when something goes wrong. It's good to find out that there is a person behind who goes and talks to customers in a very visible way. So that is something which is extremely important to show up. It's extremely critical also for leaders that they talk to and hang out there where customers are actually at. So then when we get then this even further, then take it from a leadership point of view, take it from a governance point of view. In my view, and I served the financial services industries for a while, decisions there, they're often broadcasted via digital channels. But where and who are the boards and owners? How can we see them? And that is something that gets quite tricky. So in my view, leaders are not there well enough. So in many technologies and principles, Australia can be seen as a kind of a test market. Imagine this. A tech company wants to introduce something new. They would choose Australia. It's English. We have 25 with New Zealand, 30 million people. You can draw conclusions of a new technology. So this means also research from here can help globally. So there's a social media agency called Propel, and they created a digital reputation report in November, brand new. And they looked into the top 200 Australian companies, which basically are the ASX, Australian Stock Exchange, how that looks like in terms of the digital reputation of CEOs. 82% of those 200 of the CEOs have a LinkedIn profile. We would think about 100%, but not at all. They post 8 times per year. But the 10 most active, they post about every week, so that's much better. That's interesting. On the ASX 200, there are all the big banks, insurance companies. Australia also has some companies like in mining industry, or even fantastic software companies are here like Canva, Atlassian, or Linktree. So there's a lot of innovation here, but only 82% have a LinkedIn profile. And from them, 70% of those CEOs with a profile, they are extremely passive. How would you buy into a vision of someone when you do not see that person? 6% of those CEOs are active, which is not that many. If you can really count it, it's maybe 10 people. So, and now the female CEOs, they outperform their male counterparts quite a bit. You can see there's written, they post 8 times more than the male at 45 times higher engagement. Why would any leader be on social media in the first place? Because they want to have a more connection to the basis, to the customers, to all stakeholders. They want to be also visible. We all want to use maybe LinkedIn more in terms of content to receive feedback from that. Without content, LinkedIn would still be a kind of a CV type of platform. This report has a lot of details about that, about why this is, good examples, and you can even scan this code here on the top to find out more about it from Propel Group. It's really insightful. But it tells us something. It tells us, and I might generalize a bit, that those on the top level are not that accessible. Let's look into this more in detail. So top leaders and board directors are far behind average LinkedIn profiles, ignoring the personal brand. How did that come? Who has been on LinkedIn? The top CEO of today, 15 years ago, might have been a middle manager. LinkedIn came, and they put it and treated it like an online CV, and therefore never developed further. Who are the active people on LinkedIn? Content creators these days, small businesses. You see fitness coaches using LinkedIn. You can see a lot of more emotions on LinkedIn compared to just the average corporate guy. Let's look in the typical organization. I put the pyramid on. We're starting with contractors at the bottom, employees, team leaders, management, and the C-suite. I'm working in sales, so I trained to selling up, building relationships up to the C-suite, and then the CEO, very well knowing the E stands for execution. The CEO is the one responsible that the company runs and does something, but above is another level which in corporate sales we mostly ignore, and that is a board of directors or the owners or whoever there has a saying and can hire and fire the CEO. So who are the stakeholders? And we take it broader to then make a conclusion about the digital reputation. We have clients, partners. That's an important topic because no organization is looking for just one product. They need to solve a problem, which typically consists of someone who has done that for other clients before. Then we have supporters. We have consultants who help them. Associations, we would call them influencers, but I mean those which are opinion makers in that industry, and the general public. Wouldn't it be good if those would have more visibility about the top leadership, not only the CEO, and then I put it in bold, prospects, future clients, investors, very critical, and talent. So therefore, what also we heard in the presentation before, also from Oleg, so then the topic of talent, the amount of people, the number of people who also inquire and working there has to do with the way how leadership is perceived to the market and how do they communicate. They use internal channels, email, phone, internet, whatever type of tools, resources, Slack, Teams, whatever's out there. They communicate with the annual report. They can read everything about it. And then we have the external channels like websites, blogs, press, support tools. And now it comes, social media. At least since the pandemic, we know that a lot of communication with customers, with all stakeholders on the left-hand side are running on social media and chat tools. The only thing, the top level often, and as we saw in the study, is too passive. So who can help them? And in my view, we can ignite change from the bottom up, from the employees to the team leaders. They can look into the management who normally is not that active. And it is easy to recognize that the whole digital reputation piece works for the middle when they also start doing this, because they don't have time to do everything by themselves. But in order to get the employees working more on showing and using social selling, it needs sponsorship from the top. So that makes it quite tricky. But in my view, ignite change from the middle to the top. So how can we help leaders and board directors knowing they won't have a time to be a LinkedIn wizard? No CEO spends all the time in the day to just serve and write content and engage. But we want them to do this in a certain way. Let's create magnetic activities to let LinkedIn work for us. And that means towards the top. Let's take it as a circle. Let's take it as a 360-degree type of journey. So 4 topics I would like to show you in the view of a top leader, of a board director. I'm happy that I'm also one of them, and I have been managing sales teams beforehand. So I wear various hats in this regard. That gets me the more rounded type of picture. Let's take a typical LinkedIn profile, which is more modern. So Olga took yours as an example, and I would highlight a couple of topics from there. Headline: CEO at company XYZ is not so impressive, but if you more showcase this keyword rich and you give a promise of what you do, and some keywords, some stations where you have been beforehand, that can be quite useful, like you have on your site as well. Also help for searching, can be shared. And I know it's extremely difficult to write it. Once I got tasked to write this for the chief marketing officer of a software company, of a global one. That was a challenge for myself to write that, and I'm glad that she liked it. And of course, always a living document. And of course, let's see if the real person and the typical things up to recommendations, adding the profile URL that it gets into the next speaker bio of whatever event, and adding modern elements. So look here what Olga has written. She talks about these 5 different type of hashtags because she's using she even also has the website there where it's written the Modumup Social Selling Agency, and then you click on it and then you see something straight from this top view, and that fits well into the leadership that you don't have to scroll so, but you see immediately it's modern, she knows the things, and that's very good to have that. So that is one thing. And the majority of LinkedIn profiles of top managers and leaders are far below. Work to be done. And when we do that, then it's a question, how would we connect with people? And there are different ways how you can see that. So what is the best way? First of all, how should content look in general? And then I look into the commenting part. So my way to choose content, I find my own acronym, and I call it Trello. Some of you might know Trello is a software for project management owned by Atlassian, fantastic Australian company. But Trello for me is just by accident 6 letters. Content that I choose to post follows into one of these 6 elements. Trust. We like to work with people who know, like, and trust. The next one would be results. And that doesn't mean bragging, but rather telling the story. And you didn't see teaching with a T, but it's learning. I think it's what we learn and share with others compared to saying, we are the teacher, we know everything, and that's how you need to do. I prefer the learning part, learning and sharing, and also sharing lifestyle. Not the Lamborghini in the garage, but lifestyle for me means rather the empathy I have towards the ecosystem around me. When COVID hit and the cities got empty, a lot of business moved to the suburbs, and you realize how great it is to live in nearby at home and to support the local cafe, the local butcher, and so on. That for me is more the lifestyle approach. And of course, in Australia, we have the beach nearby. And the last one, letter number 6, there I talk about opportunity. One of 6 letters, I talk about the business that I'm in. And that makes it more personal, that we can better tell stories compared to only produce facts. Also, that relates back into presentation from Oleg beforehand. So my advice here, produce it in batches, post only once per day, not more, because the algorithm would backfire that. Provide value in the view of the receiver, and then pitch never. Doesn't make any sense. Nothing more offsetting than offering straight away. Makes no sense. And what you can even do, you want to make a point across, put it in a nice graphic, or use Twitter. Make a screenshot of this and post this. Very nice, visible when you scroll through the feed of LinkedIn, which is basically exactly the same thing. So, how to go after this? The first thing our leader can do is to simply comment on posts of others with further insight, thoughts. The best way to show your voice. Simply comment. Insightful. Second one is great, you show something, but tell a story why this post is important for your audience to see. So I found this one here, which was somewhere going away from LinkedIn, and I shared it to my audience, summarizing where I got it from, a hook, a question, summary. I kept it brief, I tagged the author, and I only used 5 hashtags, including innovation, which had 39 million followers, and I got, not to brag, but I got a nice number of views. You could say views don't count, but the more views, the more likes, the more comments, and I need to get comments, like a typical way I run through the funnel, lots of shares and so on. So it's possible to get messages across without having our own content. And we want to create our own content. Our dear board director and leader has a difficulty not to have enough time for this. And they don't know with all of the formats what we would do. What goes well in 2022 and onwards are text posts with document carousels. What goes well are newsletter series and not polls. Ideally, somebody helps our leader with some pre-produced type of templates, how a list post looks like, how to do a summary of something, and how to create stories. Exactly fits also into Alex's slides beforehand. And you reuse it, but you need someone who helps the leaders with content. So if in an organization you have someone who knows this stuff well, doesn't need to be in marketing, get them in it. Work together, help our leaders. It shines well all over. Good idea to collaborate and show this outside. It will be amazing. Example post. Remember, I talked about this Australian report from Propel. So then I met that the managing director, Roger, and I shared simply what we spoke about. 15 minutes, post done, going well. So it's possible, and then grab comments, and other leaders have been supporting, and I could enhance my network, as could Roger. So content is there to provide a personal brand background and to get on with that. And at the end, when we have done that, then we can start to convert with messages. LinkedIn messaging is an underrated search engine. If you communicate using keywords, you can find it. And if you use voice or video, as personally you would do maybe on WhatsApp or on Facebook Messenger, then you can surprise your audience. Not just on LinkedIn, but that's at least a surprising way. That means it's just 4 things to do to help our leaders and board directors, correcting the profile, help them to connect properly, support them on content and context, and then convert with messages, because that's what we want. Social selling is the art and science of advancing business conversations from public into private and to advance the business agenda. Doesn't need to sell, but in that sense, it gets it further. And that's a good thing. Convert is important. So that's the order of things. And I wrote about this for 210 weeks in a row and started to summarize this. And in early 2023, I will have my book around that, which is called Connect and Act, Systematic Social Selling, where I present 42 of my best episodes in a reflecting way that helps board members, leaders, and actually most who want to like to do more than the pleasure and profit from LinkedIn. So that was my journey, what I wanted to share about how top managers and leaders can utilize LinkedIn, can utilize social selling activities with the support of their teams to enhance the personal brand and ensure that they are part of this smaller section of very visible leaders compared to the study that we've seen so far. If you want to know more, you can scan here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very insightful, very structured presentation, and beautiful, beautiful book. Thank you so much for that. And may I ask you some questions?
Sure, play.
Yeah, great. The first question will be about how social selling helps you in your life. Maybe what kind of business or other opportunities it gives to you. You please share.
Let me share it short. When I came to Australia 6 years ago, I didn't really use LinkedIn beyond it as a CV. So it didn't help me for a network. So I built my network using the content on LinkedIn. I used to connect people with each other, not about something that I need, but I wanted to help others. And content helps a lot on it. So therefore, I use social selling activities for this. And of course, as I work in the area of partnership-based business, I've been basically supporting the middlemen like great managed service providers to help customers. I use content to share what works for them, to find people that they come to me instead of I'm begging to work with them. It's an ambassador of the Institute of Managers and Leaders here in Australia.
And how much time do you spend? Because, you know, many top managers, they are afraid of like actively using LinkedIn because they think that it will just, this is the kind of full-time job and they will just waste a lot of time on that. So could you please share your experience?
In my view, 15 to 30 minutes is enough. If the profile is in order, if the principles are there, 15 to 30 minutes maximum. Is it additional time? Question mark. From a salesperson point of view, we would anyway talk to prospective customers, maybe on different mediums. So then we use also social selling. So it's not additional time, it's part of the thing. Social media can get addictive. We need to pay attention not to hang out only in the feed. That makes no sense, like on the television zipping around. A proper leader who knows how to deal with time doesn't do that. So therefore, I think the 15 to 30 minute mark should not be more. And it can enhance the life a lot because I don't take it from something I must do. I take it from I want to do. I take more the pleasure part of it. So the profit comes after the pleasure. So I enjoy reading content like I read my newspaper. It's just another medium.
Yeah, there are a lot of great experts on LinkedIn. So Gunnar, thank you so much. A lot of valuable insights, and we'll share your slides with the audience after the webinar. Thank you so much. And I would like to introduce our next speaker. And our next speaker is Laura Nguyen, Head of Consulting, Public Sector and Defense, and Atos. And Laura will share her personal brand development experience on LinkedIn and her vision for positioning on social media for modern top managers. Actually, Laura's page on LinkedIn is amazing. We love it, and I recommend you to follow. So, Laura, please. Yeah, you have very nice background.
I know. Christmas mood. Yeah.
Exactly, starting today. And thank you for your nice words. It makes me blush. You say, yeah. So thanks for having me. And I already was like listening to the other speakers, and I might repeat some of the things because I think we share a vision on why social selling is so important. Let me see if I can share my slides that I prepared today. Let me see here. Are you seeing my screen? Let me put my glasses on.
Not
here.
yet.
It's better.
Not yet.
Up, share screen. Yes, there it goes. Up. Share. Now?
Yes.
Ah, perfect. And let me go to the slideshow. Now it should work, right? Yes, good. Shall I just start and walk you through?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, we still can see not the slideshow, but your like minimized picture of your slide.
It's interesting because it shows in my thing it shows right, but maybe because I was moving from current slides.
Usually, you know, yeah, it works if you reshare your screen. Yeah, maybe.
Do you see it now bigger or not?
No.
Technology, huh? Let me see if I can do something else. Because it's showing in. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah, there are two ways. Yeah, you can reshare, or probably you can share the whole screen.
Yeah, I was sharing the whole screen, but it didn't show the whole thing. That's the hard part. But let me see if I PowerPoint slideshow. If I do it again like this. Now better?
Loading. Yeah. Now it's great.
Okay, perfect. I just had like to first do the slideshow and then start sharing. Okay, good. Shall I just give? But we are one of the global leaders, very strong in IT services and consulting and data offerings, and where we are the global leader as well in secure and in decarbonized digital, which is for me is very important because you will see a lot in this world to do something actively about it, and I think technology can do this. We are a big company, but I'm based in the Netherlands, like responsible for the consulting in Northern Europe. But more, and why I'm sharing it is as well, I think in social selling, it's not only about your personal brand, but it's also like representing the company that you work for. And it will it's a two-way strategy, right? Like personal branding, but enhancing as well the company strategy and communication and reaching out to customers or other key stakeholders. A little bit of background on myself. I have a background in business economics, worked for huge companies and smaller companies, had my own company in Silicon Valley. I stayed there for 10 years. I loved it so much because of the entrepreneurial spirit. Also got like hooked up with LinkedIn already there. And this is just a picture of my startup because I really think just to tell us about me that I like to use and leverage technology to help to make the world a little bit better every day. And this was like bridging the digital gap between elderly people and their young ones. It's the idea is still there. I see still other startups doing it, but I finished it like 10 years ago. But it's an interesting. So this is all about as well like the digital bridge, and I think what we have to do now is like help others as well, like to make social selling part of their day-to-day business. As I just heard one of the last questions. So when we talk more about LinkedIn today, but it has to do with Twitter, with Be Real, whatever it is, right? That we use TikTok, what your clients are using, or the people that you want to engage with. That is what we should that you should use as well. And for me, in my day-to-day business life, I use it to find interesting content, to engage and connect with buyers, but as well with other stakeholders, relations that share the same interest. And having like, as we talk about hybrid working, I think it's as well like hybrid communication. You engage through mail, you engage through social. It's a mix. And even if I'm talking about buyers, I think we sell more if you stop selling. LinkedIn is an engagement platform. It's to like learn more about others, learn about content, but the directly selling, it will take time. So that's why I'm saying you sell more if you stop selling. And also heard that about like, this is my other, like make it just easy and simple. It's all about finding the right message at the right time, finding the right venue to the right person. So it needs to be personal and it needs to be relevant. I will come back to that later. You're here on attending this webinar, so you're probably convinced already about the importance of social selling. But if you might need some more proof to convince others, I have here some numbers that I will not let go of each tweet because then I will just read it. But most important, you see that successful salespeople or anyone like is using technology to close more deals. Or if you are looking for a job, it's very easy to like be found to have like this dream job because you are present online. And yeah, you see as well like that. If talking about selling then, because that's one of the things that I'm very much involved with, if you sell to just one person in business to business, you're not going to close the deal. It's about multi-level sales and having different people. And in average, and this research was 2 years ago, 6.8 people, or 7, are involved in a buying decision. And LinkedIn, again, is a very nice way of like influencing and reaching out to different people and make sure you don't miss anyone in that decision making process. So for today, I summarized like the 4 key pillars for success on LinkedIn, and it's as well like linked to the social selling index. I will come to that later. But it has 4 key pillars. One is, and we'll talk more about that today, is establish your professional brand. It's like who you are. People will find you or ask you for things to react or to be invited to. So it's really your professional brand. The second pillar is like, do you find the right people to connect with? It's this huge network, and if you have a question and you put it out there, you will get many answers. It's really as you have your network. We used to have it like offline. Now we have it online. The engaging with insights. I heard that the other speakers felt like discussing that. It's what kind of content do you share? And if you share, make sure you share it with a reason, not just by reposting it, but like, why is it important for the others to see this? And then I use it to build relationships over the years, stay connected when it's relevant, come back. And it's really good as well to see what others are doing and react to that. Before you start, I think it's have to talk about branding. You need a value proposition. You need your own value proposition. Like, what do you care about? Like, how do you want to be perceived and to be close to who you are? Like be authentic. But also from your company, it's what's your company that you're representing? What are the key values that you want to bring across? Because it's busy out there, so you better be very precise. Then the social selling index. I don't know if everyone here in the audience already has checked theirs. Otherwise, I would like challenge you and say, go to this link. And you can as well find it by Google saying social selling index LinkedIn, and it's for free. And then you get this number and you will see it used to be higher, but I'm still active, but I think there are more really strong people out there like competing. But I have a 73, the max is 100. And the 4 pillars that I was just discussing, you will see here to the right. It's establish a professional brand. So that's 21 out of 25, which is good, but can be better even. And then finding the right people, it's how active you are, the engaging with insights and build relationships. It's a nice way of gamification. It's not like always like exactly the reality, because it's, as I said, it's gamification from LinkedIn, so it will reflect the usage of LinkedIn, but it's a good way of checking how well you're doing. So if you have time, just put in the chat your SSI, and then we'll look at it later. Just curious to see who's where you are. Then on the usage of LinkedIn, everybody should use it like that. It makes sense for you, right? I mean, I'm like saying absolutely you should use it. You should have a basic profile with the picture, with a nice banner. But also you can use it more if you really want to build your brand, as sharing and publishing. And then the heavy profile, as I call it, is like the one that you like really target some accounts, follow them, learn more, and start engaging and prospecting. So then some personal examples. In the team here in Atos, we as well use LinkedIn and social selling to build on our brand. And we did this pilot together with a few of the team, and started like on your personal brand like this to the left. And you see like a lot of like gray backgrounds. The headers are not like really used. And afterwards, more personal or more as well, like with representing the brand. And we were always laughing, like making jokes about like the goggles to the left. People like to see you, so don't use sunglasses, don't use goggles. Look them in the eye, because that's where we are. With like how people will the first reaction will look at. We also did this experiment, and I'm only sharing my my feedback because I don't want to use my colleagues' images here. But what you see is the you can do the photo filler experiment. It's still working. I don't know if you use it, but it's a fun way of like uploading a picture, and then you get feedback from others on how competent you are, how likable, or how influential. Again, it gives some insight, and you see in my case, competence is a little bit less if you smile. If you don't smile, you're more competent, and if you smile, you're more likable. It depends as well, again, like what do you want to achieve, and pictures are hard. So I already mentioned the sharing. I like to use LinkedIn as well, like sharing, but as well learning and reading. And for me, because there's so much content out there, I have a few things that I really care about, so it's for me easy to spend time on it. It's about diversity and inclusion. It's about innovation with an impact, back to my startup a few years ago, and sustainability. Those are some core things. And then from the business, digital transformation, accelerating digital transformation. So here an example on diversity. So for me, LinkedIn is not like, oh, I'm going to use it right now. It's like everywhere where I see something, I will think, hey, this is something I care about, I will share. This was in a museum in the Netherlands, where you see like all these beautiful pictures about like different people, and there we are all like standing and saying, oh. But if you realize it's about diversity as well, so that's why I shared that post. And on innovation, this is an event that it was organized here in the Netherlands on innovation with different speakers. I like to share that as well on LinkedIn. And don't be too critical on yourself, like say, oh, this is too light of content. If you really care about it, then it's good to share it. There's another discussion going on like it should not be like Facebook. I think it depends on what you want to achieve. I mean, for me, it's a business platform, so I will have personal stuff, but with as well like some business aspects to it. And the other one here you see on sustainability, it was this like, warm day. Everybody was like outside in the fall, it should be cold, and enjoying it. And then I came to the reflection like, well, what if it would be freezing, or like we should have like not global warming, but global freezing? Then it would like give another sense of awareness to the people. And other one, it's about like mental health and like caring about like the people we work with. So that's also where I post about. And this is one when I was like kayaking, and for me that was so like energizing and relaxing. So I share that experience, but also often ask a question like, what is it for you? Because I like to get the dialogue going. And basically this post was as well one of the reasons that Ekaterina reached out to me and said like, I like I like what you're sharing here, your leadership here on LinkedIn, and are you willing to present here? And so this is an example about like, if I would like not been active like then on LinkedIn, not having my personal brand, I would not be speaking today here to you. But just do it. I will stop kayaking now. Then Another thing that I experienced as well is like alternating the content between personal and business. So many big companies have like their content that they provide to their employees that they can share, and it's very valuable content. I often use it as well. With again, like why I think it should be important, just not only reposting. So but I make sure that I alternate the more personal content versus the professional, and I see that that's where people engage most is more the personal ones. But I hope they read the professionals ones as well. So here, this was about a press release, like we won a contract, which I was very proud of the team. Another one is now on security talks that we organized, and again sharing some key statistics, but as well like the fun part, the human part. And maybe is another one. Then about like making a positive impact, we organized at Atos for November this photo shoot, the photo booth. That's also something I like to share. And the third, the second one to the right here is in our studio. And like for Christmas, our Christmas video, would say like, why is that important? But I like to link it to our experience center, because that's where it is filmed, which is like a very interesting center for innovation. So again, like combining two things in one. Then about the golfing, people are laughing in my companies, like, oh, all your sports you do. But again, this is about mental health. That's where feeling like if you work hard, it's also good to relax and to take time off. And the funny part here was that somebody that I did like, well, I knew her, but I didn't know she played golf. She said like, oh, let's play golf. And she works at a company which is well is relevant for us. So you combine two things again. So it's all about like flexibility combining. And then the third is this Dutch bike from Move, which is an electric one. And I'm sharing it because I'm saying like, no, I'm getting older. That's true, but I'm not using an electric bike because I'm getting older. I use it instead of a car. Where I would use the car, I like to go and use my electric bike, so I can have a positive impact on social sustainability. So coming, and I hope I'm finding time. If not, let me know, Olga. But I have some tips to share. And this goldfish, so you would say like, what? Well, it's more about like the attention span of this fish. Anyone knows here how much of like how long is the attention span of a goldfish? And I cannot see the comments
Maybe
now.
a couple of seconds.
Yeah, thank you, because I cannot see the comments or anything now. So I was just gonna. It is.
Yeah, they are on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's true. It's like 7 seconds, and but if you would like look like somebody that's like reading your content or clicking your image or like somebody online, the attention span is even like shorter. It's 7 seconds. So my tip is here, like, don't make it too long. Don't write too much content in one post. Keep it short, but always maybe have a link or like other content that they can click through, or they can connect to you and ask you the questions. So be short, be sharp. And on the content that you share, it needs to be relevant. And what's relevant, I like this little cartoon here. It's not what you want to say, but it's like what you want to say and what your audience is interested in. So just sometimes just double check, like, is this really relevant? And is this also like what I think my audience would like? And another one, if you look at it from a company angle, is okay, what are the competitors talking about? What's the customer wanting to hear? And where can I be unique? Because if you are in the crowded space, everybody is saying the same. One example is digital transformation. Everybody's talking about it, but what makes, in this example, Atos unique is that we bridge technology and business, and then we are focusing really on sustainability and security within that space. So that should be like then for us, and diversity as well, that are the unique position that we take and that we should post more on. Then one example of my book that I still use to look at like how are we doing with sharing content, also for myself, but as well as a company, is looking at relevant content, like looking at the buyer persona. Everyone is different, and are you talking to HR? Are you talking to a CIO or to a financial manager? different motives to be involved or to be engaged. And then as well, like where is somebody in the buying process? In the beginning, in the awareness, it needs to be light content. In the action, you can start more the persuasion and putting in more facts. And then the emotional versus rational arguments. And it goes back to what I was showing before in like combining light content, personal and business and make a mix. And in B2B, often, if you review the content, I could say that it's mostly in the left or the right bottom quadrant, the convince. A lot of like words, a lot of facts, a lot of detailed information, where we should like be differentiating as well. For instance, maybe as well, like for you, like maybe review your content and see where you are. And I already get to the end of my my presentation because I wanted to build in time for questions and not only like sending, and especially when you're in a webinar, you're just talking to a screen, which could be maybe boring. I hope not. This is another post that I shared with like looking back to my younger self. This picture when I was like 5 years old. What would I say? And these were my 3 tips, and I repeat them here because I also think they rely to social selling and like be yourself, be courageous, like dare to raise some topics that you feel are important to raise, and follow your heart, and you cannot go wrong. I think it's about being authentic, creating trust, and to create trust, you need to be authentic and not like just post things that you don't feel committed to about, or you don't feel anything, because then you don't want to spend time on LinkedIn. And I also like to use content to research. There's a lot of like you can search on posts by content by typing in something you care about, and you get like the most interesting content, but also maybe new relations that you can learn from and share with.
Thank you so much, Laura. Yeah, thank you for your soulful and warm presentation. Yeah, we were enjoying this presentation, and I would like to ask some questions from our audience. First question is about where or how do you get inspired? Do you get inspiration for posts? Maybe some post ideas, content plan, etc. Could you please share your experience?
Yeah, so well, it goes back like the little bit like the structured modus is like to see, like look in your matrix. Like, well, first of all, like what are your key objectives, and they can change, right? But like, what do you want to achieve in the coming months? And then as well, like some keywords that I said about like what I care about is innovation, is digital, is diversity. And if you have that clear, and then you can look at like your environment, like the surroundings in that kind of way. So that was the example that I shared on the in the museum, where I saw like this photographs of like different people, and there everybody's like admiring, but like sometimes in the real world, people are like business review, I will see what McKinsey is saying, sometimes write a post about it, or use presentation as today as well. Then I'll take a few of the slides and I will share my experiences in the blog. But it's very diverse. It can be from us, from somebody saying something, oh, that's a really good quote, and then using it and finding an image with it. I think as well, like on LinkedIn with the short post, combine it with an image. Maybe the other example here is this was from one of my trips to Costa Rica. And I got inspired by the colors and the diversity of the animals. So I used this in the presentation about leadership and nature, and also on diversity, how beautiful that is.
Great. Yeah, and I think that it's important to keep in mind that everything is content, and you can use everything that's happening to you on your social media profile.
And you need some direction for yourself, otherwise you get like crazy, right? Or you want to be just like this multi that can be as well, like posting about everything. But for me, this works. Yeah.
The next question is about how you grow your target audience, or just your audience on LinkedIn, how you do it, maybe how you choose people to add to your network.
Yeah, well, I think it is, one part is about like similar interests, right? Like similar So for today on social selling on digital, we connected on that. So that's as well, like expand your network. You reach out because you think, hey, this is an interesting post. So that's one part. The other part is about like being active yourself in like posting, sharing, presenting. People will react to your posts, and then you can I always try to reply or to like and make a connection as well. I am there's still like people in that think like, oh, I can only connect when I've met somebody in person. And through COVID, of course, that changed. For me, the rules are like I like to connect when there is a shared interest to connect. So there's like, okay, you really like to write about digital transformation. I see that your content is as well interesting to me. I might reach out to you, say like, let's connect because we share similar views. But there's always, in connecting with other people, add a short message like the why. Sometimes you get just connections with nothing. Then I maybe have to look at like why or how. I like to understand the why. And so that's another one. Always be connecting in a relevant way. If I've spoke somewhere or I met somebody, I always will connect right away and then use my phone to connect. And then actively searching when there's some companies I want to learn more about. I also will make a connection, but maybe first warm up a bit as well. Like not like just cold calling or do some research, share, like some posts if you really like them, put like relevant comments, and then start connecting.
Great. And we have many warm comments about your presentation. We'll share them with you. Katerina will share after the webinar. But for now, I would like to ask you the last question about, I was very impressive that you showed your team with similar profile design and everything. And how did you manage to inspire your team to develop their profiles?
Well, I had a great co-worker, like a teammate, like that helped me with doing this. What we did is like a digital pilot. So we said like it's important because then I mean the role of our team is like as well like be thought leaders. So there's like a lot of smart people that have like a lot to share. So we just set it up as a pilot with a program with 5 sessions and challenging the team to do it, but all like voluntary because it's like you need to decide it yourself and start about like why is it relevant or what can it bring and do it like that way.
Thank you. Yes, so they feel that this is a valuable activity for them.
Absolutely, yeah. So they need to say it as well, right? But I think it's good, at least as well, like be more present as a company and as a person, and share the great insights of everyone, right? Because we have so much like to share, to contribute, and that's not only for my team. I think it's for everyone here on the call as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your very bright presentation with a lot of interesting pictures. Don't stop kayaking.
Don't be too nice. Thank you so much, and everyone, like feel free as well, like to reach out to me. You can easily find me on LinkedIn, of course. And thank you for your time. And I will like to see the comments as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we will follow up with that. And for all of the participants, I would like to say thank you so much for joining us today and for being so active, because we had more than 100 comments during the webinar. Thank you for that. Yeah, we'll share some of the comments with you. Yeah. Thank you for that. And we are going to send the recording to those who have registered before the webinar. But if you didn't register, you can reach out to me, Olga Bondareва, on LinkedIn, and I will share the recording with you. So don't worry, you will get it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.